Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about theme, specifically what is it, who cares, how do you find it, and how you would see it in an essay prompt or a test question. Let's go. Alright, so there are some myths and some truths about theme that we're going to be talking about here. First myth that a lot of students will believe is that a theme is just what happens in the story. This is not true though. What really is true is that the theme is the message, moral, or life lesson of the story, as you can see there. Another myth that's pretty common is that it includes specific story details, like mentioning a character name or a detail found in the plot. This is also not actually true. What is true is that it is instead a universal concept, so it's going to be able to apply to anyone, not just a character in a story or something like that. So you want to make sure that you are being very general with the way you phrase your theme. Another thing that I see pretty common among students is that they will try to communicate theme in one word, which is not true either, but it's actually a good stepping stone anyway, to finding theme because a subject is actually communicated in one word. And a theme is actually found, which we'll talk about a bit later as well, um, by making a statement about the subject. So, for example, if the story is about love, you could say, what is the author saying about love um, in their story? And that could be a theme. Let's see if we can figure out, based on those myths and truths, if these are themes. First one, love. No, that is one word, so that is not a theme. Love makes sacrifices for others. This is a theme. This is a statement about love, so that is a theme. The story is about an ogre who rescues a princess. I see this all the time, but this is not a theme. This is just what the story is about, specifically talking about good old Shrek. Alright, here is a theme though. People should seek to understand others beyond what outward appearances suggest. This is a life lesson from the story Shrek that I got from it. So this one would be a theme. Notice that is also general by saying people and not just like a character name or something like that, which is why this is a theme as well. What about this one? In the story, Shrek feels misunderstood because people have always stereotyped him. This one's pretty close, but it is actually not a theme. You can pretty much get a theme from this, but this itself is not one because it has Shrek's name in it, which is a no-go. You can get a theme like this from this, though. Stereotyping people can make them feel misunderstood. That's pretty much what I pulled from this statement. This is kind of a lesson that Shrek may learn from this, so I can pull that as a theme. Alright, so why is theme important? Other than, of course, for your grade in pretty much any English class that you're ever going to enter, there's also some real life applications that I think are relevant for this skill, I guess, with theme. Specifically, in life, we learn most of our life lessons through experience. And theme is great about that because stories, whether you're engaging with a story with a movie or uh, reading a text or something, stories are dealing with people and people's experiences and stuff. So if you can find a theme in a story that you're either watching at the movie theater or you're reading about, then you can learn all sorts of life lessons from other people's experiences, which can be helpful. This in turn can help you to make better decisions if you're learning from other people's mistakes or triumphs, which is helpful. It also helps you understand other people better when you are engaging with characters and everything because it's kind of like real life. Right, so now how do we find theme? We kind of get what theme is at this point, but how do we actually find it in a text that we are reading? There are a few ways that I would suggest. First thing you could do is you can ask yourself, does the main character learn anything about life in this story? And then you can simply apply what they learned to everyone because again, we want it to be general, it's a universal theme. For example, if in a story a character learns that revenge can't make my life right again, you could apply this to everyone by saying a theme is that revenge doesn't make things right. Notice I have something that a character learned and then I just apply that to everyone, and that is a pretty simple way to find a theme in a story. Another thing you could do is you could ask yourself, what in life is the story mainly about? Again, we touched on this earlier. This is called the subject of the story. You want to be careful with this, that you're picking specifically a word that is about life in this. Like, for example, if I'm talking about Shrek, I don't want to say that the subject is ogres. I might want to say that the subject is like a journey or love or friendship or something like that. And then after you identify that, what the subject is, then you can ask yourself, what is the author saying about this subject? What in life are they saying about this subject? So for example, if the story is about love, the author might be saying that love can overcome social barriers, or that opening up to love may also open up the possibility of pain. Third way you can find theme is super easy, but it's not always applicable, and that is if the character just outright says the theme, which is super helpful when it happens. This is pretty simple, so I don't think we need too much of an example here, but basically if you're seeing a text and someone is talking to a character and they seem to say something very life lesson sounding, then you can probably just take that life lesson, especially if you feel like it's meant to be taken as like some sort of wisdom or something like that. Um, you can take that and you can apply that to everyone, and that is probably a thing you theme. A good way to get theme is if a character says it. That's a pretty easy one. Just not always the case. All right, so now in academics, you're going to probably encounter theme in one of two ways. You're probably going to either encounter it through writing an essay or with test questions. So we're going to break down both of those. First of all, when you are in a essay setting, there's a few things you should try to do. First of all, in any essay, you want to know exactly what the prompt is asking you. So here is some example prompts here that could ask you about theme. Um, so this one, write an expository essay or explain a theme in the most dangerous game. So this one's asking you just to find a theme and explain it in this story, The Most Dangerous Game. You also have this one, write an argumentative essay on whether you agree with the following theme from The Most Dangerous Game. It is wrong to hunt animals for sport. So this one's pretty easy as well. They actually already gave you the theme, so you are just going to be writing whether you agree or disagree. Then lastly, you might get a prompt like this. Write an expository essay where you explain how Rainsford affects or shows the theme in The Most Dangerous Game. This one would be the most difficult of the three, in my opinion, just because you have to both find the theme. You also have to find a theme that Rainsford, a main character in the story, is actually affecting or showing. So that could be a little bit tricky, and you want to definitely make sure you are getting a major theme in there that Rainsford is actually affecting. So, number one, know what the prompt is asking. Number two, find a theme that is easily supported with evidence. Mainly evidence meaning quotes from the text. This is super, super important. Though you might be able to find a number of themes in a story, you probably want to pick a pretty major theme for the purpose of actually pulling in evidence to support your answer. Um, a big part of writing an essay is actually proving your point. So you might have a great point, you might be completely right, but if you can't prove it with evidence or quotes from the text, then it's not going to do that great. These last three things I'm just going to put up at once. Well, four things. They kind of deal with more essay writing stuff in general. So I'll just kind of fly through this, though I'll likely have a video that goes a little bit more in depth on kind of format of an essay, so you can kind of stay tuned for that. But this is going to kind of assume that you know what these things are. So first of all, a good spot to put the theme in a intro paragraph would be in the background information section, which comes after the hook statement and before the thesis statement. Again, if you don't know what those things are, I will have a video coming up at some point that you can check, and we'll kind of go into those in more detail. But we'll keep going. So yeah, then you also want to make sure that you have a very solid thesis. In any essay that you write, you really want to make sure your thesis is super strong. So please make sure you know what a thesis is. But basically, it is your direct answer to the prompt, and you also give some reasoning for your answer. And then, of course, you want to have some text evidence from the whatever passage you're reading. That would be in the form of quotes or paraphrase text to support your answer in the body paragraphs. And you also want to be able to explain your evidence and how it supports or proves your thesis. All right, moving on. You also might see theme in the form of test questions. You might have this on a state test or just in an English class test. But when you encounter them, there's a few things that you should be thinking about. First, pretty obvious, just like before with essays, is you want to know exactly what the question is actually asking you to do. So for example, which of the following themes is most strongly supported in passage 1? Here you're looking for the best theme, the one that is most strongly supported, meaning has the most evidence supporting it. So you're looking for major theme, the most major theme. In this next one, which of the following themes is least evident in passage 1? This one you're actually doing the opposite. You want to find the theme that isn't very evident, I guess, which means like you're going to have 3 good themes and then one that isn't that good, or one that is maybe a minor theme and you want to pick that one. And that would be your answer that you're looking for. This one's actually pretty much the same thing. All of the following themes are evident in passage 2 except pretty much the same thing as before. The only thing is here it's actually telling you that one theme is just outright not a theme at all, and the other 3 are themes, whereas this one before, it might just be a minor theme that might be in there. Okay, which of the following themes is supported in both passages? This one can be tricky, but you want to, again, make sure that it is in both passages here. So you're going to have more than one passage for this question. So you might have 2 different texts or something. And you want to make sure that it is in both of them. So if it's in just one of them, then that would not be the right answer. Which thematic interpretation is least supported in both passages? This is just the opposite. Don't let this scare you. Thematic interpretation just means the interpretation of the theme. So which theme is least supported in both passages? That just means, you know, which of these is not in both passages. So if it's in both passages, there's going to be 3 of them, whereas there's going to be one that is not in both passages, and that will be the answer you're looking for. All right, so after you know what exactly the question is actually asking you to do, you can go ahead and, again, look for if this is supported with evidence. So is this answer supported by evidence in the passage? And you want to go through each one of the answers. If it's A, B, C, D, you want to go, okay, is A supported by evidence from the passage? Can I think of evidence that supports this? Any quotes that I remember? Any main ideas that do support this? If so, then you can go ahead and go to the next part and ask yourself, is this the best answer or is it just a tricky answer? I have a lot of students that will pick quote unquote a good answer, but the problem with a good answer is that it's not necessarily the best one and you might actually get it wrong. So you want to definitely make sure that the evidence is in your favor, that you know exactly what the question is asking, and you know that your answer is supported by the most evidence, therefore it is going to be the best answer. So let's look at an example before we wrap up here. So here is an example theme test question from Shrek. Which thematic interpretation is the least evident in the movie Shrek? And we get these answers. People should seek to understand others instead of stereotyping. Over time, love may blossom unexpectedly. Some friendships can last a lifetime. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I'm going to kind of walk through what my reasoning is on this question and kind of how I walk through it. So first of all, we know this question is asking basically which of these themes is not in this movie that much. It might be a minor theme, again, because it's saying least evident, but it is not going to be a major theme. The other ones will be major, and this one's going to be kind of minor, or not even there at all. So that's what we're looking for our answer. So this first one, people should seek to understand others instead of stereotyping. I definitely see evidence for that, because you see in the movie Shrek, sorry if I'm giving any spoilers, but he is saying how people view him as a big, stupid, ugly ogre and all that good stuff. And also they even stereotype Fiona as being like this dainty princess, and then she actually like kicks butt and everything like that. So stereotyping is all over there and in this, so this is definitely a theme. Let's go to the next one. Over time, love may blossom unexpectedly. I also definitely see this one in this story because it starts out where Shrek is getting Fiona just so that he can get his swamp back, and he at one point actually even picks her up and basically drags her there. Certainly no thought in his mind about any love interest. She actually did have some love interest at first, but then quickly was like, definitely not with Shrek. But then over time, they did kind of blossom their relationship and they ended up getting married and all that good stuff. So this is a theme that's pretty strongly supported. Then we have this one, some friendships can last a lifetime. So this one is, I could see some strong themes possibly with dealing with friendship because there's some stuff with Shrek and Donkey. But for the most part, I don't really know if there's a lot in there talking about how friendship can last a lifetime. If it is in there, I would say it's certainly a minor theme. So my answer would think to be this one. But as good practice, we want to for sure go through D as well before we think about if this is actually the answer. Okay, so D, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So this one again is a pretty obvious theme in my opinion, just because Shrek is an ogre and he calls himself all ugly and stuff, and Fiona at one point is calling herself ugly. Yet, at the end of the movie, Shrek, in kind of an iconic line, he's saying, Fiona, you are beautiful to me, and everything, which is definitely support for this major theme that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So that would wrap up that C would be the least evident, the weakest theme of these answers, so we would go with this one. Anyway, I hope this video is helpful to you. In my brain, got this routine worked, and there's also this video over here you can watch that he has some good points as well that I kind of took some stuff from. So hopefully this is helpful, and see you next time.